Is this thing working? Is this live? Are we doing it now? Welcome, everybody, to the Eden Army podcast. I'm your host this evening, Pete Robertucci. I've got a whole bunch of people over there in Kick. Thanks for K-Love for resubscribing. Mama Teresa, thanks for resubscribing. We appreciate that. But there is a gaggle of people hanging out over there in Kick and kind of going back and forth and looking at all the chat, trying to keep up with all you maniacs over there. But we do have a good show. We're going to get back to the news, right? We don't have a guest tonight, so we're going to get back to the news because a lot of stuff is going on. But before I do any of that, don't forget tonight's show is sponsored by Eden Army. Don't forget, get one of these guys right here. I wore that to the gym today and got a whole bunch of high fives from all the people there, except for the manager. Not too sure if he was gay or if he was just a liberal, or maybe a little bit of both, because either he liked the ATF or he didn't like that I was calling the ATF gay. Not sure. But anyway, the manager of Planet Fitness wasn't too happy with me, but all his patrons there were very happy with me. So get you that ATF. And before the tariffs come through, I got a note today saying that by the 9th that they may start putting some tariffs on a whole bunch of stuff. So we'll see what happens. So that's who is sponsoring the show tonight, us. And speaking of tariffs, guys, holy moly. Trump touted this Liberation Day, but I'm not 100% sure who he was liberating because the stock market dropped almost 1,700 points today. And if that's not bad enough, the futures over here are steadily after market are steadily starting to drop to 91 points. So I'm not quite sure how it's all going to work out. I do have a certain prediction on what I think is going to happen with it. But I would have done this. Listen, Donald, I would have done this a little bit differently. First of all, I wouldn't have just nailed every country at one time. Don, listen to me. Listen to what I'm telling you. All right. I know you tune in. Listen to what I'm telling you. You should have hit China first, let that soak for a month, then hit Canada, then go to the EU. Sooner or later, one of those guys are going to capitulate, and it wouldn't have been such a big strain on the stock market, right? Use your head. You're a businessman. Get your head out of your ass, Don. All right? Listen to the way this thing's going to work. But here's my prediction. So, yeah, the stock market's down. I predict that 2 months, we're going to see an economic collapse, slowly start to dwindle down. We're going to have problems with the economy. And then here's what's going to happen. This is Pete's prediction, Eden Army prediction. You heard it here first. They're going to take those savings from Doge. They're going to go ahead and give stimulus checks to all the taxpayers out there to try to boost the economy, to try to stop the recession, right? And so they're going to send out some of that Doge taxpayer savings back into the economy to stop it from a recession happening. So I hope he does do that, because here's the first thing I'm going to do. If he sends me $1,000, sends me $5,000, whatever, first thing I'm going to do is go buy a shit ton of Tesla stock with it, because it's going to be low and it's going to go up, 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 up. So could you imagine if we all did that? If we took a stimulus check and we all bought Tesla stock, first of all, liberals' minds would just, their heads would explode, because the stock would go back up to where it was at. We'd make a killing, and we'd show them once again how stupid they are. So anyway, don't forget, scan the QR code. ATF is gay. I love it. And then also we can scan this right here at some point and keep in touch with us on all of our social medias. I don't know if you guys got the newsletter for the last month, but we did put that newsletter out. If you didn't receive it, scan this, go to my website, and get on the newsletter. I send out one a month. That's it. So make sure that happens. Our next appearance is going to be at Mountain Readiness, May 2nd through the 4th, and you can pick up tickets right here. There you go. Like T says, move with purpose. What's going on, Mr. Russ? Usually behind the scenes, but we put you up front and center. What's going on, brother?
Oh, nothing much here, man. We're getting ready for the trips. We are pretty anal retentive when it comes to trying to pack for trips, and we've already started to pack for mountain readiness. And when we get home from there, we're not going to have to pack much else to head to the North 48. So
Gotcha.
we're
Perfect.
looking forward to that. Um, I'm getting close, guys. You guys know about my weight loss goal. I'm what about that far, Pete?
You're about 2 inches, 2 inches too. So I see Griff's over there on Facebook trying to bust chops again. Amy's at Facebook. Guys, so tonight, look, here tonight, we're just going to do news and we're going to shoot the crap like we used to do back in the day before we started getting guests and all that stuff. So we're going to go ahead and leave the chat up. That way everybody can see it and see how it all plays out. What do you think, Russ?
That works for me, man. I mean, we'll try to keep track of the chat as best we can, and go with it. But we did bring a good bit of news in because we didn't do any news the last couple of weeks because of the guests we've had. Um,
Mm-mm.
so, where do you want to start, man? Well, I mean, we got several things we could talk about.
Well, first of all, let's just dive into news here. Let's dive into domestic stuff. There was some congressional seats, right, that needed to be filled, especially in Florida, and then there was a Supreme Court judge seat that needed to be filled over there in Wisconsin. So the Florida special election, we had big wins, right? Florida congressional districts 1 and 6. Randy Fine defeated Josh Wheel in District 6, and also in District 1, Jimmy Petronis won over Gay Valamont. And that's an important thing because remember, Russ, Trump took those two people, those two congressional seats away because he brought them into the administration, right? Brought them into the. So it was important to make sure that the mandate that the American people put forward for this guy still happens. It has a potential of happening, right? So that was important.
Okay.
And what was a little, go ahead.
I have a question. And this is just more for my education and for those of us that don't live in Florida.
Mhm.
Where is 1 and 6?
So District 6 is where I live in Central Florida area. District 1 is north up in the Panhandle. So District 6, I believe, was, let's see, that was Matt Gates's seat. And then up north in District 1, that was Mike Walsh's seat. And both of those, like I said, were vacated to have a spot in the administration. Of course, we know what happened with Matt Gaetz. You know, he likes diddling little kids, so he had to get out of the whole thing. So
Yeah. And
allegedly, Russ, allegedly.
And I think that might have been one of those Trump chess moves. Yeah, he knew that if he put him there, they were going to bring this up, but then he brought in the person he really wanted. Conspiracy.
Well, I think it was a win-win for everybody because Gaetz got to bail out easily before the congressional caucus came down on him, right before they really put the hammers to him because they were going to investigate him. Yep. So I think he was kind of gracefully was able to bail out under that auspice, and then he was able to save face. So, yep. But what was a little bit disheartening is the Wisconsin Supreme Court. The Democrats have a 4-3 advantage in the Wisconsin Supreme Court right now, which is what they had already. But it would have been nice to level that playing field. And the shitty part, Russ, is two cities really run that entire state. You got Madison down south, then you got Milwaukee out east. If you get away from those two urban areas, there is not it's all Trump signs everywhere.
Absolutely. 100. I agree with that 100%, having actually seen it with my own two eyes. And what makes no sense to me is how can they have a Democratic Supreme Court nominee win by he only won by 10 votes. Okay, 10 votes. Mm-hmm. And yet the election integrity, the voter ID thing passed overwhelmingly. I mean,
Yeah, so that it doesn't. It's mind-boggling, right? You would
yeah,
both of them.
that's the sniff test.
Yeah, you would have thought both of them would be equal.
Or
But
some are close anyway.
yeah, and
And
Jeff, you're right. George Soros did pay for that election, and his background. He loves to buy judges. But in all fairness, to be completely transparent, look, Elon Musk wanted to go in and buy that son of a bitch. Also, it just didn't work out in his favor. So I get it. I understand. George Soros is just a little bit more, I guess, entrenched in especially with the judges. So yeah, definitely Soros, 100% bought that election. And before we get too far, Russ, let's go ahead and run that. I'll run that news briefing to make sure people don't realize or understand that I'm not lying. Yeah, I'm not lying to them. Got it.
President Trump's endorsed candidate sealing the deal in Florida last night and cementing the GOP's control of the House with 2 more seats. And despite the Wisconsin Supreme Court race not going their way, Republicans did pick up a down-ballot win in the battleground state. Here to break it all down is Republican strategist and former NRCC Comms Director Matt Gorman. Matt, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So let's start in Florida, where the races for the Republican candidates were called within 12 and 1 minute after the polls closed. So that is the exact moment in time where House Speaker Mike Johnson took a sigh of relief. So what will the impact of these wins be?
These will give a little breathing room to Mike Johnson, the Republican majority. And I think, look, these are safe seats. And you could see Democrats felt really bullish, say, a month ago. Suddenly there was talk of them maybe winning it. And then ever so slightly in the weeks later, they started to actually pull back expectations. Maybe they'd only lose by 5 points. Then it was 10. And we see they lost by upwards of 10 points. So they were encouraged maybe at the start, but Republicans came through in a big way and showed up. And these seats now give a little breathing room, as you said, to Mike Johnson, their Republican majority in the House.
Yeah. Okay, let's move over to Wisconsin State Supreme Court race, where the liberal candidate Susan Crawford beat conservative Brad Schimmel in a race that really shattered spending records, fueled by 2 billionaires, Elon Musk and George Soros. And Musk was all in on this race. He says the future of humanity relies on Schimmel winning, and came up short. So what do you think about this, and what the impact of this loss for Republicans will be?
Yeah, I mean, you could see some down ballot effects on this, whether it comes to abortion. Also, there's 2 seats, as Elon said repeatedly, that could be at risk in the House through the Supreme Court gerrymandering Republicans like Derek Van Orden and Brian Stile out of seats. We'll have to see how that goes. So that's unfortunate. However, I can't say this was totally unexpected. Most of the polls were trending Crawford's way. I only saw one poll that had Schimmel even tied. So I can't say this was a massive surprise, honestly.
Yeah, and the GOP-backed referendum that enshrines Wisconsin voter ID requirements into the state constitution into law was overwhelmingly passed yesterday. It's something that Donald Trump celebrated as, quote, maybe the biggest win of the night. So he's happy about that.
Well, there you go. So now you see them not blowing smoke up y'all's butt, but that was a big loss for the Wisconsinites, I would say. But again, they didn't hold the majority in the Supreme Court to begin with. It would have been nice to at least evened it up a little bit, but I don't know. Jeff, we talked about tariffs a little bit and how the stock market took a shit today, 1,700 points nearly. But what's more concerning is the futures are also trending downward. So that is a little bit of a problem. So I don't know.
We got T from Mountain Readiness over there on Kick, and both of the little Nomets want us to give them a shout out. So both the little Nomets. Hi guys, we can't wait to see you guys again.
Yeah, hopefully are they gonna be at Mountain Readiness, the youngins?
They are. The Nomets will be there.
Outstanding. I'm looking at what Patrick's writing over here. It was really interesting that the voter protection stuff passed. Yeah, that's what Russ was saying. It's hard to believe that the voter protection stuff, you have to now have an ID card to vote in Wisconsin. But for some weird reason, the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, that didn't play out. And like Russ was saying, it was an overwhelming change. It wasn't even like it was neck and neck. So I'm not 100% sure what the hell is going on there. I'm not going to say it was fraud. I don't know. at the end of the day, I don't really care until something happens in Madison and Milwaukee to get some of those liberal constituencies get their heads out of their ass. That's the way Wisconsin's going to be forever. That's why I am in the Northwoods, not in those two shithole cities.
Yeah, we don't go to one and we skirt the other coming home.
Yeah, exactly. Now my brother-in-law lives in Milwaukee. He loves it, but now that he's retired from his job and he's able to now voice his opinions a little bit differently than when he was in the public sector. So I can tell you that he's probably one of the few that don't have their head in their ass in Milwaukee. I would think. So, we talked about Elon Musk, Russ. We talked about Elon Musk trying to just go ahead and siphon or put a whole bunch of money into the Wisconsin Supreme Court race. But did you see what Doge actually uncovered this week?
No, I didn't. I honestly was a bit lacking on my social media today.
So what ended up happening is Doge went in and started auditing, like they do. And what they found was they found that one particular organization had deleted documents, 1 terabyte of documents from their system, financial documents.
Were they kin to the Clintons?
Well, I don't know, but they had to do with payments to the Taliban and payments into Iraq. Elon Musk tweeted out on X, he says they deleted a terabyte of financial data to cover their crimes, but they don't understand how technology works, so we recovered it all.
Holy cow. Hold on here. Let me pop this up.
Doodle.
She's making an appearance.
Atta girl. Good job. Angry Mel made it on the kick too. Holy crap. All the stars must be aligning correctly if Mel is able to log in and get it squared away.
I fixed that while I was down there.
Good job. Good job.
Down there. I fixed Julie's while we were over there in Dixon Landing a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully she'll remember to pop on. But, you're talking about Elon and you talked earlier about Tesla stock. Man, these freaking liberals are losing their mind. I scrolled through X today and there was no less than 10 different posts of people keying Teslas. And one guy, several of them got caught.
We're gonna talk about what happens to these tough guys. What happens to these tough guys when they get caught or confronted, and putting Nazi swastikas on these Teslas. And we're gonna get into that a little bit, and we're also gonna highlight one particular gentleman in Texarkana that I call him the Titanic-sized Tesla terrorist. That's what I call him. I'm just going to go ahead and run that right now. Screw it.
Texarkana police nabbed this Titanic-sized Tesla terrorist after DeMarcus Cox allegedly used a mini four-wheeler to ram into multiple Tesla vehicles.
Man, he was pushing somewhere around 450 or so. I don't know what kind of
any side by he sat on would be considered a mini.
Yeah, exactly. And that thing is probably a lot bigger, but he ended up getting nabbed. So he allegedly, I don't know how you can say allegedly he's on film actually doing it. But I'm going to play that again. Watch the handlebars when this tub goes over. Watch the handlebars.
Texarkana police nabbed this Titanic-sized Tesla terrorist after DeMarcus Cox allegedly used a mini four-wheeler to ram into multiple Tesla vehicles.
What in the hell?
He needs to put some Loctite on there or something. That thing broke.
There ain't enough Loctite in the world that's going to stop that kinetic energy from moving those handlebars. There's not enough at all.
There's no way he can say that was an accident.
No way. The only thing mini was his will to stop eating.
Exactly.
Look, I don't know. Maybe this guy had a bad upbringing. I don't know. Maybe dad wasn't around. The smoke detector kept chirping. Nobody was there to change the battery. I don't know. But he got caught by Texarkana police.
Well, and he's obviously has that what was I saw a video clip of it on X. It was they are now blaming Trump for obesity in the African American community.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I wish I'd have cut that clip. Yeah, so they're blaming Trump because minorities are fat. A certain portion of minorities are fat, and somehow it's diabetes and overeating is racist. I don't know. I don't understand it all, but yeah, blame Trump for everything. That's what I say.
I mean, and I showed you a video shortly before we started. Even CNN, I mean, guys, there's visual cues that they are subliminal that you see on TV, and they make you want to go have snacks and all that good stuff. CNN has been caught using an orange filter to make Trump look orange. They played a video, same video. One was CNN, one was Fox. CNN video, Trump had a nice orange looking tan. In the Fox video, looked normal. Subliminal messages. Orange man.
Yeah, orange man bad. Orange man bad. The funny thing is, okay, if you want to stop obesity within the minority community, because most of those communities are heavily subsidized by the taxpayers, right? Right? I mean, that's common knowledge. That's not me just being a weird guy. That's common knowledge. So let's do this. Let's make them all happy and say you can't buy junk food with your EBT and food stamps. Amen. You're not allowed. You're only allowed to buy the staples. That way you can slim down, right?
Exactly.
Let's see what that would. They've tried that in the past, Russ, and what they said is our kids can't have snacks too just because we're poor. Come on, you can't. There's nothing you're going to be able to do to make people happy.
It's ridiculous, man.
Where was that pinned one I just saw here? Look like here we go. Good, Mama Gnome. That's part of your weekly prep. Good. I'm glad you learned a little bit of something. I'm not very good at that whole land navigation thing, but I'm glad you got something out of the deal anyway.
You got to remember your pace count. That's the big one. Knowing your pace count. That's even bigger.
Exactly. And then getting back to the stimulus checks, if that happens, Patrick says he's going to buy a hammock and 86 pounds of Vienna sausages.
I figured you get a kick out of that one. Well, Amy over there on Facebook says she's all by herself. Oh, wrong one.
Oh, nice, Patrick. Thank you. You're going to like that.
Yeah. All right. Where's Amy at? There we go. Oh, wrong one. There it is. Okay. The chat's going so fast I couldn't keep up with it. She says she's all by herself because Griff left. Well, Amy, log into Kick, join the cool kids, and you can stay the whole time.
Figure it out, Amy. It's not that hard.
If you have any problems, I think you have my number. If not, send me a message and I'll help you get on.
Exactly. It's not a big deal.
If I can figure it out, anybody can.
So we saw that the big Titanic-sized Tesla terrorist got caught. But what happens when some of these Tesla terrorists actually get confronted by the person's car who they're vandalizing with swastikas? Let's see what happens here, right?
Give you some free service.
Free service? How about you pay for the repairs? Write a check. You just bought a Tesla.
I can wipe it off with a towel.
No,
it's not a key.
It is a hate crime, sir. It is a hate crime. Did you write a swastika on there?
I'm sorry you're upset.
Did you write a swastika?
It didn't even work. Apparently it doesn't work.
Did you write a swastika on the... It's a key, sir. We see it on the video.
It's not a key.
Is it a swastika?
I was probably putting my keys in my pocket.
Is it a swastika?
Have you looked at your car? Is there a key mark?
Yes. Is it a swastika?
That's impossible.
It's at the police right now. It's being fingerprinted.
What do you mean it's being fingerprinted?
Because they're trying to track you down. Thankfully, Facebook tracked you down. So your business, your freaking livelihood, everything now because you chose to write so to tell Facebook that you're sorry for writing a swastika on a Tesla.
Listen, I said I'm sorry.
For what?
And I apologize.
For what?
I have nothing against your car, and I have nothing against you.
So why would you write a swastika on a Tesla?
Obviously, I have something against Elon Musk, but that's not the
so
way
Elon
to show
Musk owns that car because
No,
it was
he
bought
owns
and
the
paid
company.
for. It was bought and paid for a long time
That's
ago.
why it's misguided, and obviously, I did not intend to do this.
All right.
I did not intend to do this, Russ. I didn't intend to do it. I didn't intend to get caught, is what he should say.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And to show how stupid they are, guys, if you haven't learned by now, if you're a Tesla terrorist, all right, if you're that, they have cameras on them. They have a thing called Sentry Mode. That means all the cameras go on. You are gonna get caught, you pack of retards. There's TikTok again.
Bye.
So don't do it. And not only that, it's like black on black crime, right? Because mostly liberals own Teslas. Mostly liberals, for the most part, are worried about the green energy scam, right? The new green scam. They're eating themselves from within. Buffungul, these guys. Go ahead and do it.
Absolutely. And it just, like you're saying, man, it just makes absolutely no sense. Elon's already got his money out of it. All you're doing is damaging personal property, and causing a hate crime. And you mentioned black on black crime. White on black crime does not get reported. Now, because we were talking about that instance down in Texas where that track athlete got stabbed because of something to do with where they were lining up or something. Got stabbed, died in his twin brother's arms.
Yeah, so the story Russ's references is there was a track athlete at a high school game, and another teenager came from the opposing team and sat on the wrong side. So the African American who was sitting on the wrong side, this particular track athlete said, "Listen, you're on the wrong side. You should be over there with your team." And long and short, the one guy stabbed the other guy, and now he's in jail for murder. But you're right. There would be a huge outcry had things been reversed, right?
Absolutely.
So that's the problem we have in this country right now. The minority, whether it be the LBWXYZ people, the 1%, they whine enough that the mass public has to adhere to their mental. Forget it. Don't worry. I'm not going to say that. But look, we have to deal with that. So look, at the end of the day, we know there's a double standard, but it is what it is. What did Patrick say up here? I did see this one, Patrick. Another Tesla terrorist with her lady with her 7-year-old, and the 7-year-old actually gave the camera a finger. So look, you take your kids away, and you go to jail, lady, because clearly you're not raising those kids correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So what else we got? Yeah, I'm with you, Larry. There would have been a lot less talking in that scenario there. A lot less talking.
A whole lot less.
So again, guys, we're just going to go through. Iroquois Pliskin is over there on YouTube. I don't know if this has been asked. Book 4 of the Eden series is coming up right after I get done with book 2 of the Birchwood Burning series. So I'm working on Birchwood Burning, almost done, by the way. News release, press flash here. I mean, look, it's almost done. So then I'm going to dive.
You've been busting it out lately.
Yeah, no, I've been knocking it out. But then I'm on to Eden 4. So Iroquois, if you have not read Birchwood Burning 1 or listened to it online or listened to it on Audible, I would do that because that is next. Coming next down there out of the pipe. So cool. Yeah, I'm excited for Birchwood. Honestly, I'm excited to be done with it. I'm not done with it yet, but I will be excited when I am done with it. I'm not going to lie to you for a couple reasons. Plus, because look, the Eden series is that's my baby, right? That was the whole thing that got me started in this, and I've already got the whole damn book in my mind. I just need to get it on the computer. So I'll be excited when Birchwood 2 is done. Also, plus I want to get Matthew back to work. Right, I want to get the narrator back to work. He's a good guy.
Yeah. See what else we got.
Yeah, I'm going to say that every week, Amy, until it's done.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
I'm working on it.
The only thing it lacks is finishing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Audible is actually really. I have Patrick was talking about Audible, and I didn't do a lot of Audible before you. We went to you did Eden and Birchwood, and I'm actually kind of hooked on it now. So I mean, like Chris's books, I've read all of Chris's books, and if those out there that I don't think there's anybody in our group tonight that hasn't read those, I've actually started listening to those on Audible. And Duke Fontaine is a very good narrator. He fits that character, and the guys that you have fit yours as well.
Yeah, they do a good job. I'm really happy with everything that I've seen so far. There we go. Kelly says all my authors are friends. That's a true statement.
Yep.
And Ma Weatherman popped in over there on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So we got one more news thing we're going to talk about, but let's talk about preps of the week, guys. What'd you do this week? I'll lead it. I ended up buying 5 new batteries for the RV, 4 for the friggin' coach and 1 for the chassis. So I got those installed. Had a little incident with my loading ramp on the way back from Mountain Readiness or Fallout last year. I was able to get that fixed. Hey, K-Love, good evening, young lady. Good to see you. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your resubscription over there on Kick. We certainly appreciate that.
And K-Love, you are going to be at Mountain Readiness this year, correct?
Yeah, well, I'm sure she is because she was originally signed up for the Troy's Gate class. So
I want to make sure she's coming, even though we ended up having to cancel that. And I wanted to make sure that she was still coming because I always enjoy hanging out with her.
Absolutely. Chrissy said, let's see, preps and outing this week. Pew show. She went to that reenactment and a few little upgrades. We did we put those connectors in those PSA guns, Russ. Let me tell you, it was 10 times harder than with a regular Glock.
Really?
Yeah.
The
internals are all the same.
Right.
Taking the gun apart with the roll pins that they had was a nightmare. And then, of course, I was screwing up the first time and it wasn't working right. But anyway, me and Guy figured it out after about 3 or 4 whiskeys. We got it all squared away. So,
well, I went through and tagged a lot of the preps of the week. So we can run those down as I continue doing that. And while I'm continue doing that, Teresa and I, a lot of our preps were more geared toward the camper. Although I did get finally got an optic for my blackout build. And so I got it up and running and getting ready to go test fire it probably tomorrow. So
very good, very good. And so things are moving forward. Larry's working a 4x8 garden bed. Nice. There's another 2x4 coming. Yeah, now's the time to get that planted. Amy's, she's on the same ball. She's starting her pepper seeds. Big T's over there. It seems like that's gonna look. I'll give you a little hint, T. The more chickens you get, the more you're gonna have to keep building stuff like this. So everything in moderation, Big T. You don't need 1 million chickens yet. Maybe you do. Bring me some eggs when I get to Mountain Readiness.
Oh yeah, we've already got an order in for eggs.
Oh, do you?
Oh yeah.
Good. Eric Coy took his Minuteman bag out hiding about 8 miles. Good. Yeah, I took on our 6 mile hike. I took the new Rush 72 bag, and I thought it was going to be the the best thing in the world, 511. I didn't like it. I thought it was a brand new bag. I just wasn't feeling it. Wasn't feeling it. Amy, you've been busy. You're getting canning jars also? Very
Oh,
cool.
and Melissa just said she ordered 4 dozen eggs for you guys.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, we need to get rid of that box. Prep of the week. I got a spare pair of dinners from a friend. Didn't show to build a quarter.
Okay.
What are Danners? I don't know.
Danners,
What Danners are.
fair pair of Danners. Danners are boots. Very good boots.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
They're very good boots. Speaking of boots and shoes, I got to go get a new pair of core frames because mine disintegrated on me after 20 years.
Yeah, well, if you don't touch them for 20 years and leave them in the box, they have a tendency to do that, I think.
It was quite
What
funny
else we
when I
got?
pulled that box out, though.
Mike says, focused on a trip to mountain readiness, check the air and the tires. Oh, that's the other thing I did was I ordered a TPMS system for the tires so I can monitor them per T's advice on the 5 things or 10 things we need to have in our cars, right?
Yeah.
So I understood the importance of properly inflating your tires because I think that's what ended up screwing me up. Anyway,
because
mistakes were made.
didn't you say that the tire pressure was running high or low?
Well, no, I had the time. Well, I had them overinflated. I was going by the sidewall PSI, cold PSI, as opposed to actually what was on the door. So I reached out to both T and Bullshit, and they led me in the right direction. And I saw the error of my ways.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we went in. What did we get? Trying to remember. We bought several things. I bought a backup camera for the utility trailer. It should be here tomorrow. So Teresa can see it a little better in the background when she's driving up to Wisconsin. We bought several odds and ends type stuff for that, and just getting the house in order to leave it again for about 4 months.
Mm-hmm. Mama Noon shook out her pack. Good. Yeah, throw that thing on your back and get walking with it. I think it'll be an eye opener for y'all.
Absolutely.
One I already showed. Kelly's working on a 1,700 gallon cistern up on the ridge. Now, you guys, is that where you get all of you're like hobby, right? You got to get all your water from springs and stuff like that. You don't have a well, Kelly? What else we got here? Oh, Reverend Finch is always working on preps.
Yep, he is.
You need to get that bag on Mama's back and start walking around the block, Finch.
Yeah. And the other thing that I did this week, I finally broke down and got my GMRS license, so I can be legal. $35, and it was done. It took me like 10 minutes to do it online, and I got the notification the next day. It was that quick. So,
and that's good for the whole family, right?
It was good for the whole family, which will allow Teresa and I to communicate between vehicles on GMRS.
Nice.
And your family, so we can use GMRS while we're up there in Wisconsin.
Of course.
Right. They do not specify exactly what kind of family it is.
Oh, I'm sure some sad ham is going to get on here and correct us about that.
This sad ham can suck my left nut.
Oh my goodness. So I have to check. Yep. Yeah, don't let your bug out bag get hit with a nice. Trained. Oh, good job, Patrick. Yeah. How did you teach it? The pass method: pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. I think that's how we used to do it back in the day.
See, Larry Dahl says, "Whoever family is, whoever I say it is." So,
exactly. It's not always blood, is it?
Nope. Yeah.
Good job, Diana. Now get that carrying with a carrying case. Put it in your bag and start taking a walk with it. Russ were
Well,
mhm.
kind of looking, but the one that Teresa posted it on there, Amy, was more for Mel than anybody because it is OD Green. It was a nice camper, but it was odd. Camping World didn't have any big fifth wheels. I mean, the biggest one was 33 foot, and that's only what 4 feet longer than what I have. If I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to get something bigger, and because we're going to go get what we want.
Exactly. Don't spend any more money. It's
No,
a bad idea.
oh heck no, not anytime soon. We're just looking, and it was a target of opportunity. Was on the way home, so.
Oh, Mama Teresa says you guys got a surge suppressor and a new
We
mattress.
did get a surge protector for the RV and a new mattress. Because that other one was a bit suspect. It was yeah, it had the dips in it.
Oh, you just wore them in. That's all that is. That's just making them comfy.
No, not when it goes all the way down through probably 4 inches or 6 inches of memory foam. You're still hitting bottom. Yeah, that mattress is toast. So
Well, that's the only time you've ever hit bottom, from what I understand. So congratulations.
hey,
The well pump. Oh, gotcha. Oh, Fireman Ed. Congratulations to Fireman Ed's daughter. She got her EMT patch, from what I understand. Good job, brother. You're raising her well. I'm glad she doesn't look like you, though. Definitely takes after her mother on that aspect. Reading through chat. All right, so what else we got? So speaking of raising kids the right way, right way. You see the news. Well, I had mentioned it a couple of weeks ago about the Illinois, and this is your neck of the woods over there, FIB. Illinois is apparently mandating that even if your child is homeschooled, you have to meet all these certain requirements. I'm going to run the clip, and then let's talk about the buffoonery that's going on in that liberal shithole.
All right.
Now, under this bill, the sponsors of the Homeschool Act say it will help regulate what they call the fastest growing form of education in the United States. Under the bill, parents would be required to notify their local school districts that they plan to homeschool their kids and give them their personal information. Now, if a parent doesn't want to register their kid with the state, they could be charged with a misdemeanor and sent to jail for 30 days. The bill also stipulates that if a school official has concerns your kid isn't receiving an adequate education, they can send an investigator to your home, force you to turn over your curriculum and your child's schoolwork for review, and if they aren't satisfied, it could trigger an investigation by the State Department of Child and Family Services. Parents are telling us this bill is a massive government overreach.
I feel like it's an attack on parental rights. It's an attack on homeschool rights.
I feel like it's overreach because I don't co-parent with the government. My children are mine, and I get to decide what we learn. It doesn't.
That is the best quote I've heard out of that whole interview. That and another one. I don't co-parent with the government. That is so awesome, and I think this lady makes a good point here.
To have someone to have the government who is struggling to educate in the public school sector to tell us how we should educate our children.
Despite that and all of these protests, the bill is expected to pass.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, and they nailed it, right? Those parents nailed it. First of all, I don't co-parent with the government. It's not your job as a government to worry about how I parent my child, first of all. And don't tell me how to educate my kid when you rank nearly last in the entire country, and we rank nearly last in the entire world in reading and arithmetic. Liberals are lunatics, Russ. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
Yeah, they are. I mean, and I once I got on tonight, I kind of looked at what you were going to talk about, and I went on to X and kind of tried to educate myself a little better. And there was actually a Democratic senator that was against that bill. And he said a lot of those same talking points, the state does not need to have say in what we are teaching our kids. It starts with
Right.
the parents.
It's not their place. It starts with the parents. The problem is that I'm not gonna say that. Carry on. Yeah, you're right, Larry. I'm glad because I've been saying that for a long time, and yeah, it's a mental. It really is a mental illness. It honestly, it truly is. So,
And I mean, it's the fact that we're getting rid of the Department of Education will hopefully help. But then you still have states like Illinois, and I'm sure California is going to follow suit, and New York will probably follow suit along the bandwagon, and to still try to force that type of agenda into their states, because there's people, there are schools still out there violating Trump's executive order by still pushing transgender and DEI and everything else under the sun in their classrooms in both primary and secondary education. And
well, you can see the news where Maine actually lost federal funding as of yesterday and today because they would not follow that executive order. And now the administration is saying, okay, you're not getting any funding, and now we're starting to look over at California. And New Scum, you better realize that you're going to lose a whole bunch of funding also. So get your head out of your ass. Denise, I'm not sure if HSLDA was involved with that or not. You might want to take a look at it.
And then you got in regards to transgender, the sports thing. You had a women's fencing competition, and the young lady took a knee, got disqualified because they were allowed, the other team was allowed to have a male participate in the female side, and she got disqualified. Again, violation of an executive order. I mean, do these people not understand plain English?
Yeah, no, they don't get it, Russ. They don't get it. And even like we were talking earlier today about all the stuff about Doge and stuff. Nancy Pelosi and everybody was all for Doge 20 years ago. And it's great to see all these things start to come about where Barack Obama was talking about, Nancy Pelosi, Schumer was talking about how we need to fix this. Then when somebody finally goes in and starts to do exactly what he said he was going to do when he ran for presidency, they all start losing their effing minds. Patrick, I want to address this real quick. The money is still going to come from the federal government, so they'll still have to adhere to those executive orders or any laws that are on the federal. So what that's saying is we're not going to oversight. The bureaucracy of the federal government's not going to oversight exactly what you do. They're gonna get rid of all those tens upon tens of thousands of jobs that on the federal level, give the states extra money, but they'll still be able to mandate how that money's utilized. So something to think about. But you're right. That's a slippery slope right there.
It very much is, because I mean, while I think initially the Department of Education was a halfway decent idea, it got too much bureaucracy in it. And when you have so many people with their hands in the cookie jar, is the end product is going to get diluted. And we failed our kids.
Well, and I think Doge found out that only 80% of all the fund, or only 20% of all the funds that the federal government has given toward education is going toward the students at a local level. That other 80%, was for administrators and stuff like that. So that's the real problem. Sandy, he wrote an executive order, which he had the right to do, and he. And we'll see what happens with that. I think we lost Russ. There he is.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Let's see what else we got here.
But yeah, it blows my mind.
Yeah, so this is a pilot program going on at Atlantic High School in Port Orange, Florida. And it's basically an AI-assisted scan and metal detector for weapons. So what they were having all the students do is they were having them walk up with their cell phones in their hands, so the AI can distinguish the difference between a cell phone and a firearm, and then they were making them go through a metal detector. Eden Army #1 is a little bit concerned about that, mostly because they're going to utilize that to be able to. But what she doesn't understand is they're going to utilize that to be able to, if there's a suspicion of anything else, maybe the kid's bringing pot to school, maybe he's bringing whatever to school. But that's always been there, EA1. So don't be too concerned with that. I don't think you have to worry about that.
And what's sad about it is the fact that you have to have metal detectors in schools. You know,
it doesn't make any sense. It's a gun-free zone. Why do you need metal detectors? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but it's already been fully established, in my opinion, that gun-free zones aren't. It's difficult to go to different places that you need to go to, and I mean, I've gotten so used to carrying, I have to oh, wait a minute, hold on, let me go back to the truck. Like into the VA the other day. Oh, and speaking of, there were no current photos, and there was a sign saying, "We apologize for the inconvenience. We are waiting for the official photos for President Trump and the headset."
Oh, well, at least they addressed it. That's nice.
They did address it. They did address it.
Chizu, I don't think it's a punishment, though, right? I mean, there's no punitive action being caused by holding your phone out and walking through a metal detector. It's not like you're going to get in trouble for that. It just might slow you down a little bit getting your class, which you're probably late for anyway. So who the hell cares? You can blame it on the metal detector. Yeah. I don't know exactly how I feel about it, especially how it's being implemented here in the county. But remember, it's just a pilot program, and it's no different. It's no different than going through TSA while you jump on a plane or something like that. There's no different. And we know how successful TSA has been. They haven't stopped one terrorist attack ever.
Nope.
Cockroaches.
Cockroach.
There you go. So Denise says HSLDA is involved. They had over 8,000 homeschool advocates show up in the Capitol. Now it's up to the House. Yeah, they were. Oh, yes, they were protesting that. Even in that video I showed.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that Trump said he's going to clean up homeless camps? Well, they're here. Yeah, they're all over the place. Go over to California. If you Sandy, where Sandy live? Sandy lives where?
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. Well,
I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sandy. I try to keep track of too many people.
Yeah, it's blowing up over there, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. What else we got over there?
Oh, yeah, you got to hit that little microphone button or the speaker button if it's muted, Egghead.
He couldn't find it with his crayon.
That man's a damn lawyer. You better watch out. He's going to start getting us for copyright infringements and stuff.
I ain't scared. I ain't scared. Man, I tell you, it's the stuff that what they need to start doing, and they've slowly started doing it with the Tesla vandalism and stuff like that. But anytime they find someone breaking the law of an executive order or the law of the land, they need to freaking start slamming. I hear you.
I agree.
They
need to put the hammer down, right? They need to. There's two things I wish that Trump would do immediately. First of all, these people that are doing this, they're doing it for political gain. They're doing it to stop the political process. That's the very definition of terrorism. So it should be the Tesla attacks should be domestic terrorism. Period. End. No questions asked. In addition, I want Trump to label Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization right now.
Absolutely.
Right now. Because whether or not they're organized, whether or not they got a clubhouse or not, somebody's footing that bill. Someone's even footing the bill for all these demonstrations that's going on with Tesla. Follow the money and then deal with those people. This is bullshit. You need to get off your ass and make this happen, Trump. This is not
Exactly, because I mean, like with the Tesla stuff, Elon's come out and said he knows who the people are that are funding it, so they need to do something about it. They do. And
yeah, they've got the names, they've got all of it. It's just they need to get off their high horse and just label these people domestic terrorisms. They're terrorists, and what they're going to find out is that's basically the entire Democratic Party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know,
But
Sandy brought up, she says she wants man-made weather to stop. And I saw something this past weekend, I think, that Florida just passed something along those lines that got rid of chemtrails, yes?
Well, the free state of Florida and our great governor Ron DeSantis has not passed anything, but he is looking at the spraying of chemicals in our airspace and basically saying that this needs to stop. We need to stop poisoning my constituents, and he's looking into it, but has not been there's no set law yet. It has to go through the entire process. Chemtrails are crazy in New Jersey, Larry says. I gotta look into this whole chemtrail thing and this thing, because Ed, you can back me up here a little bit, and maybe if I didn't see Opie in the house, but just because there's a long chemtrail, there's a long condensation trail behind a jet, depending on atmospheric conditions, those could be lasting longer than other times. So I got to look. I'm not saying that these things don't exist and we're not doing stuff and we're not dropping chemicals down on our heads and stuff like that, but I'm just not educated enough to say I hate the idea of seeing a chemtrail and just all of a sudden assuming that it's chemicals being dropped on my head. Yes, Sandy, I did see that. I did see that some people, and I think somebody even actually sent me a picture. I don't remember if it was Susan or not, but she had chemtrails going up over her house, and there was a whole bunch of stuff on top of her car. So, yeah, I get it. I'm not educated enough to speak on it right now. There's a big push here in Florida also, EA1 says, about this fluoride thing. Port Orange locally said that they were not going to get rid of fluoride in the drinking water and the municipal water system, but Ormond Beach, which is just north of us, decided they were going to get rid of that. Russ, when I used to take baby girl to the dentist, and they wanted to give her that fluoride wash, and I tell them, no, don't do it. You don't need to give it to her. She brushes, blah, blah, blah. Man, they looked at me like I had 3 heads, like I was the worst parent in the world. Oh, now, look now, guess what? Fluoride's bad. Fluoride leads to ADD and all that other bullshit.
Yep.
Look, man, that'll get me fired up.
Getting you fired up.
Ed, I think Ed said this is true. It has to do with Ed, it's been a minute or two since I went through forestry class, but it has to do with the Lavore scale, or I don't know. But yeah, I think he's.
And there he goes. He clarified that a little better. Is it could be just condensation, or it could have stuff in it. And yes, the weather does affect how long they linger.
There you go. There goes Ed.
And Sandy says she's going to send you in pilot filming and bragging about it.
No, I've seen it. Sandy. Don't send me anything. Thank you, Kelly. I try to be a good dad. I'm trying to drill it into her head a little bit that I actually am looking out for her best interest. But you know how these 22-year-olds are. They don't.
I don't know if she's still here in here or not. But probably not. She was in a minute ago. She posted something a minute ago, but I don't know if she's in here still or not. But I tell you, you do the best you can for your kids. And I mean, for those of us that have kids, they don't come with an instruction manual. You go with your gut. You try to follow, quote unquote, the science. You try to follow the examples, good and bad. I mean, a lot of people say I'm a great example of a bad thing, of doing bad stuff. So, it just is what it is.
You're right, Sandy. That's a quote. Dad, you don't know you're dumb. That's a quote she would give me.
That is exactly.
Very cool. Russ, we've been an hour, brother.
Wow, that was a quick hour, and it went quick.
Time flies when you're shooting shit. Guys, any questions for us? Anything you want to add to the podcast before we call the ball?
Well, and while you're talking about that, let me pop this up here real quick. I'm going to switch out our camera to the. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and kill chat. Kill chat for me real quick, so it'll show up a little better. Okay, guys. Next week on our podcast, our guest next week. Wow, Mr. Mike Pissed Off Arborist, aka FIB. Mr. Mike Mitchell from FIB Preparedness will be on with us. It ought to be a pretty good show. He has promised that he will be sitting in his booster chair so we can see him. And I think it's going to be a great show.
Is it true, Russ, that he has a giveaway next week?
I heard something about that, and I don't remember exactly what he said. I'd have to go back through the emails that we've talked about. But Mike, you're in the chat. What are you giving away tomorrow? And we'll pop it up. Next week, and or unless you want to make it a surprise, pop it up over there in chat, and we'll pop it up on the screen.
So for those of you guys, I know we see Mike a lot in the chat and his company, FIB Preparedness, but he is a dealer for Halo Sun. He can do anything from, I think, matter of fact, I got one right here that he gave me. Oh. He does everything from sells these fancy gadgets to thermal optics. Pete, yeah, you can do it. Go ahead. I don't care.
Holosun 510C with magnifier that I picked up from FIB Preparedness. Just like that. On a 300 blackout.
There you go. Sandy, if you're interested in thermal instead of night vision, which they both have their gives and take, Mike at FIB is your man for thermals. I'm telling you that right now.
Absolutely. And everyone that I've talked to in regards to night vision versus thermal, if you're going to make a purchase, it's the first time, everybody that I've talked to says go thermal.
Yeah, and if you're gonna mount it on a pew, I guess, if you're gonna mount it on something like that, I would recommend the AGM Rattler scope.
And
that's what very cool. Well, no, I have the clip-on, which is not the scope version. Javi my buddy has a thermal scope, which in hindsight I probably should have bought that one.
He got the Rattler?
He got the Rattler, but the scope version as opposed to the clip-on version.
Okay.
But you know what I did see when I was at an FTX the other a couple weekends ago? I was using my night vision monocle, and then I took my AGM thermal and I went side by side with them. So it was really cool and it worked perfect. I need a bridge to put those two together. I don't know if they make that. I know they make a bridge for the thermals, but I don't think the big AGM would work. I'm not 100%.
Right. Yeah, well, Sandy says she'll look into that, Russ. I want to walk around my farm with it. Absolutely. And I'm trying to remember, did we cover that? No, we didn't. So the weekend I was up at Dixon Landing. Angry American did a call in on the radio to talk to the folks there since he couldn't make it. And then he was talking to me on the radio, and then he had to drop off because he had noticed, looking out with his thermals, that someone was walking along the fence on his property line. And he went out there with his thermal. He said he was in his tactical Florida gear. So he's wearing his bump helmet with everything else. And he's got a freaking Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops and his AR. And he's out there, and he got to within like 8 feet of this guy before the guy realized he was there. And then Chris flipped his freaking light on him, and the guy like shit himself, but he was able to acknowledge that this guy was actually on his side of the fence, and it was actually his neighbor. And I was just out looking around. Yeah. You might not want to do that at night around Chris. I'm just saying, you might not want to do that around me or you.
Exactly.
Around
that's not the one I was looking at. Yeah, there is somebody asked about a discount code or friends and family discount. I think if that Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Eden Army is the discount code. But guys, it's always best if you just message him on Facebook or something like that,
Yep.
and he usually will work it out for you.
Yep. And I found that, and here we go.
There
it is. Eden Army, 8%.
There you go. So get on his website. And again, guys, we'll have him on next week. So if you have any questions as far as products and stuff like that, fire them off to him. Go ahead and get your list of questions going. Let's see. Fireman Ed just subscribed, and Larry Dial subscribed. Thanks, guys, for subscribing over there on Kick. We appreciate that.
And Mike just posted this. He goes, Eden Army, you get you 8%, but he will get you better at mountain readiness. So bring your dollars, bring your pennies and your nickels, and get something at mountain readiness. He's got a couple of things that he's going to be bringing there that I'm sure we'll talk about on the podcast. I'm not going to give it away just yet. But one of them is actually going to be pretty cool, and we'll have to discuss whether or not he'll be able to mess with that one or not. And I'll talk to you about that offline.
Gotcha. Okay.
One of these days, Diana, you're going to make it to mountain readiness, darling. And we'll have to have a party just because you finally made it.
Oh, so it'll be different than any other night there? We'll actually have a party? No,
Well,
I think we pretty much party every damn night.
It is.
A party in her honor.
A party in her honor. There you go. Because, yes, you're right. We do party pretty hard every night. And, guys, just for information, the week of mountain readiness. So it will be the 30th of April. There will be a joint podcast. Okay. It will be Mountain Readiness, Eden Army, and Angry American podcast all on Wednesday night, live from Mountain Readiness. So that will be the only podcast for the week.
Boy, that's going to be a shit show.
It will, but we'll handle it. And we're going to try a couple of different things with some multiple cameras and you three sitting around. And if there are any other instructors that happen to be there, they'll be welcome to come in, have a seat, and talk. Hopefully everybody will show up online, at least online if they're not there. Kelly, I'm fairly certain there'll be some whiskey that involved that night, but we'll try to keep it to a minute, at least to a dull roar, but we'll see what happens.
It could happen.
It could happen.
There you go. It could happen, Amy. There's a precedent set for that once or twice before.
Amy, when it comes to podcasts, if we're doing a podcast, Russ will not be drunk. Russ may get drunk shortly thereafter. And if we're not doing a podcast, then there's a very good possibility that Russ
Look, the aliens took Russ. Guys, last chance, though. Scan this QR code before we go off tonight. Jay, we don't want the diesel. Leave that shit at home. There's no need for it. It's
Diana, if
bad
you're
for you. Rush your 8 up. With it, you're not coming through.
I see that it bounced off of me a little bit. So as I was saying, hopefully I'll stick this time. Diana says the 30th is when her doctor's appointment is. By my calculations, she could hop on a plane on the 1st and get there in time for mountain readiness on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Just saying.
Hell, she could drive it if she got everything on. All right, Russ, I'm gonna leave you. You bring us out, brother.
All righty. Well, guys, once again, great podcast. Again, it's all about community. You get your training. The training is out there. We hate that we had to cancel Pete's class, but it is what it is. There is still training available at Mountain Readiness. There's going to be a ton of classes. And once again, as always, you have a birth date and an end date. Let's worry about the dash. That's all I got, Pete.
Sounds good. All right, guys. So like Russ says, get some training. Guys, I do feel bad about canceling that class, but I made a promise to those boys at Troy's Gate that said that we would have 10 students. But if you're not able, since you were already planning to take my class, Tactical Rifleman is having a pistol class right after Mountain Readiness also. So I highly encourage you to go take their pistol class if you have the chance and you already have the day off. So go see them. Guys, listen to me. Be safe. If you can't be safe, well, you know the drill. Be dangerous. Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.